Okay.
Okay, cool. Question number 1, right?
One word to describe me is diverse. Treat a patient like a human being and not a disease. Listening to a patient gives you half the diagnosis. Life is short. I am very angered by self-medicating patients. I don't mind the apples, eat them if you want, but self-medicating patients every time. I would love to debunk that flus are not treated with antibiotics at all. Ever. I don't like that. I don't like patients taking antibiotics for flus. Yes, that's one thing.
Hey guys, how you doing? You, and you over there. Are you Kawa? Are you feeling good? Are you okay? If that's what that is, no, it's okay. You'll be fine after this one because our guest today.
This is about the feeling of the goodness
of the inside. Yes, that one exactly.
Yes.
So before we even jump into the guest introductions, because if I try to pronounce her name, wallahi, I'm going to butcher it. So I'm going to keep that to her. Yeah, maybe also Josh can try. I don't know. He will decide. But before we even get into that, if you're new here, if you're new here, like and subscribe. These two loud guys that you're about to see, like and subscribe. We promise you will speak sense, a lot of it. But if you've been here before, you know what to do. Like, comment, share, tell a friend, and then sit down and enjoy this one.
Yeah.
Because it's fire.
So before we dive into it, Doctor, we've been seeing you in Kamoli. We have been the Kamoli squad from TikTok, from Instagram, from the YouTube. Then the YouTube is where for us we got us. Because, for us, getting likes is it's a hassle. But anyway, on YouTube is where really education.
Getting likes that.
So, how are you? Just tell us a bit about yourself. How this journey started for you.
And most importantly,
Yes, sir.
How to pronounce your name correctly, because we have confession. We have butchered your name.
You have.
When you are not here.
Thank you, sir. Yeah.
So please.
But is my name hard? It's not hard.
That's for
they're just a bit long, but they're normal. Okay, Doctor is the title.
Okay, that's right.
Tumusiime Nyamurungi. How is that hard?
You don't want to know.
Nyamurungi.
You don't want to know.
There are so many. Then Murungi is common. They just do Nyamurungi.
I told him.
Syllables.
His brother from Busia.
Syllables are hard.
Yeah. So, Doctor, tell us about yourself. How this journey started. What have you been up to? Yes.
My journey, like social media in particular.
The journey. Because we saw, we know about you. That one we saw. We know your journey.
We saw that story somewhere.
We watched. If you haven't watched, check out our channel.
Social media. So, what can I say? So I officially started shooting. But no, that story is a bit long. So
cut it like onions.
First of all, I began thinking about doing social media when I was doing my internship after medical school. So I was like, I'm going to do social media. Okay, I didn't think about the platform. So it was first because mostly when we're in university and during internship, when you're doing your practice, because you need to have a vast number of people exposure. So you work in government hospitals, not for profit. So the kind of people who are generally not very well knowledgeable about things. So people would die over things that don't make sense. Like people die because of lack of knowledge. Like I always say that. And there's a story of this girl who I talked about one time. No, actually I didn't release the video. But there was a story of why I was like, now I have to do it.
Yeah.
So basically this young girl was like 3 years old and she had like a problem, advanced into a heart failure type of situation. And the mother was taking care of her in the village while they were doing, those traditional practices of cutting.
Yeah.
And they were trying to heal her using those things. She's a 3-year-old girl. So by the time she comes to us, she was like in heart failure, full blown. After like a month, she died. So that one was like, that one really hit me so much. I felt so bad because I think something which would have been handled if she knew. If she knew. And most people genuinely don't know. And then it comes to urban Kampala, people think they know because they are Googlers and whatnot. But this side, instead it becomes more, the knowledge gap is more of wiseacking. So
we self-medicate.
Yeah, self-medicate. People think everything. People begin buying antibiotics from. You understand? So by the time someone would get to the hospital, they get there when they already have issues. Another thing that bothered me was, how like these traditional healers or herbalists, basically the quacks are very many on social media, and they would be very convincing. And the doctors who are professional are very, very few. Very few. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to do this thing. So the first time I began shooting, I was like, okay, let me first do it like small, low-key, whatnot. Began doing things with my phone, but I didn't like the aesthetic. You had actually asked me about Dr. Mike previously. He's the guy. When I used to watch his videos, and I was like, that is the guy.
The look.
Yeah, it's a whole production. It's a whole production, which I haven't seen in Uganda. I think there's one person I saw who's doing that is some guy called, though his is a bit more of comedy, he's called Aproko Doctor. He's Nigerian.
I know him.
Yeah.
The guy who just
The guy who Emeka in Ikechi.
So
when you're doing the tea.
That guy. That's the guy. That's the guy. So I was like, okay. The other doctors were doing well, but also still they're not many. We are not. I think in Uganda, I don't think we are anything more than 5 who are here. So I was like, I want to do this thing. So I decided, okay, now I'm going to actually invest in it and then make it like a whole production. So I began getting okay, now let me get a production team because I wanted a particular type of picture. And then of course, if you're going to invest in a production and you're also a doctor, you have to invest a lot in your literature review. The knowledge you're giving has to be extremely authentic.
Because you can take it word for word.
Yeah, it's going to be taken like that, but also you can't invest in a project to do it on that kind of a scale, and yet you're distributing errors. You have to read what you're trying to do is remove errors. So it takes a lot of time to get into the production. It can take like a month plus to just prepare for a set and things like that. So basically that's how I started. So I began in September last year. That's when I actually now started, okay, now I'm going to start shooting.
That's September 2023.
Yeah, I haven't done it for a year yet. But I began in September, got the Cooking Nurse Studios here at TCN. That's when I started with them, and the video quality now, I was like, now we're doing something. That's when we started. We have grown overwhelmingly. Since sometimes I'm like, the speed is a bit much. But so yeah, then that's where we are right now.
And if you're new here, and you're still lingering around,
you know what to do.
And tell us, leave a comment, Doctor. We shall probably run some comments that are, guys, let's keep it. Let's be guided. Let's be guided. Yeah, we can, refer some comments that really need assistance. But also, Doctor.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes you get conflicted. Should I call you Doctor? Should I just address? But then you're like, people read books.
People read books.
Some people actually called me Dr. T. Some people from social media. So in case the Tumusiime is very stressful.
Dr. T. Doctor has to be there. People read. Doctors read.
So, having watched your content, and would say most of our guests that we have is we kind of consume, because every creator, like what you've said, even us, you don't want. The reason why we have guests is some paths we have not walked them. So we can't really speak to them. And we felt from a doctor's perspective, we sensed a lot of authenticity in what you're sharing. There were certain topics that were close. They were not random. There were those topics where you feel like, either research, either always don't self-medicate or this or that. So why is that authentic touch important beyond just the aesthetic, the light? Why is that authentic touch important?
Because it's medicine.
Wow.
Because it's medicine. You can't not be authentic when you're teaching medicine. Although now the other thing is that you have to be able to simplify the medicine to a place whereby it's digestible, because it's not just me teaching people who don't know medicine. Also, there's fellow health workers. There is doctors, there's consultants. I've had like my colleagues and whatnot who told me how their senior doctors would be like, hey, you guys should actually watch this content. So when, hey, you guys should actually see this, I'm like, you know what, that's actually a very good thing. Because first of all, when you're dealing with doctors, number one, they tend to be very proud people. Another thing is they can be like, this person is saying things which are, you know. So there's when you can be doing your practice, and like during practice and you're doing things, is when you may do something and you're used to doing it that way. And it works for you. But when you look at it, because most of the time for us, everything is evidence-based. Where is the evidence for this? Where is the evidence for this? You can't just be like any quack and you're saying, I'm just doing this because it works for me. No. So when you do such things, you have to be able to have a lot of literature review and updated information, a lot of article review. Then also you have cases that you've dealt with, which are deviate from the literature.
Yes.
So you have to be able to put all those things and then make them digestible into a 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes video for someone to be able to whatever. So the authenticity is basically because, one, I want to remove error. I may not be able to remove error, but at least I'm trying to correct it, minimize to the best of my ability. Because like those videos whereby I've been talking about blood groups and food and stuff, people make money out of people like this. They come and they try to sell you some product because something about stabilizing your pH, and those things are generally untrue. So now also me, I can't come and add to the falsehood.
Add the solidity to the solid. But and you know, like from what you've expressed, it means it's not just doing it for the sake of it. There is a bigger why, and that's something we really big on. Why are you doing what you're doing? Because we feel like that is what carries you through to do what you do. But then there are scenarios, it hasn't been a year. I think you have a I would say cross audience of a minimum of 150K across the board, across it, because your TikTok is on vibes and cartel. But how do you remain authentic, avoiding rivalism, avoiding, understanding how to remain professional, how to still do the thing that you're known for? Because otherwise, most times you find the doctor has steered into soap, detergent, Pampers, what? So how do you, because...
Or when the doctor has now become a full-blown celebrity, they're now pushing other things.
So how do you stick to being authentic to that journey?
One, because I think starting it began from a place of, how can I say it? From not a good place, as in seeing people actually in pain. Like people actually, not in pain, actually dying because of a knowledge gap. That's number one. Number two, by the fun fact, before I started social media for health, I had been doing some content. I think it was more of like on fitness, workout, things like that, and healthy eating. But I think there it was my place because also, I don't know, I would feel like the content would run out because either it's working out or calorie deficit or eating well, and then tomorrow you're like, now what do I talk about? But when it comes to health things, if you even look at the comment section, it's like you've put this, then there's always people already like saying, now we need this, now how about this, now about this. Now also when I'm at work, like let me say you're having meetings, something happened and there's like a knowledge gap or something, then people are like, I wish people actually knew about these things. We used to sit in like meetings and be like, I wish there were platforms and ways in which you can be able to teach people. And so you find either your colleagues are giving you ideas, your patients are giving you ideas, things that you see. I just want to start some videos on like hospital etiquette, like tips when you're going to the hospital,
like
what it is that you should do. No, not behave, but like there are some things like like when you're going to hospital, like you find someone. Okay, those are other things. I'll be giving you.
Don't swallow Panadol before you go. That was nice.
Yeah, no, but like there's some things like there are things which someone needs to know before they get into the hospital, and then they do not know about them. The topics in medicine are so many. There are so many, and right now I'm even teaching and also because I decided to teach as a generalist before I become a specialist. Because when I now specialize, now obviously you become a bit more narrow in that area. Yeah. So I was like, since I'm still here and I'm still doing general medicine, seeing everyone, the topics are so vast. So I'm like now here. Actually, the area which I'm branching into specializing, I teach just hints about it because I want to focus on it more when I get there. Yeah. So, but that now, because I'm a generalist, I deal with general medicine. Today I'm seeing a man. Today I'm seeing an accident patient. Tomorrow I'm seeing a mother delivering. Today I'm seeing a baby. So you find also because you're in practice, the thing, like, I don't know, the topics are so many. Then why is stay authentic is, I think this will be like, I don't know if it's cliche or some people just won't be able to relate, but I feel like what I'm doing is I feel like it's bigger than me. Yeah, I am a Christian. I am a Christian, and most of the things I feel like this is my service to God. I feel like this is
contribution.
This is my contribution to the kingdom of heaven. Yes. I feel like teaching people, because at least not many people may be able to afford the most quality of healthcare or afford to sit in a consultation where the doctor will give you time. You find you go to a place where like the doctor is also overwhelmed. It's like talk your things. So I was like, perhaps this will be my service to
that
people. And I'm like, okay, let's at least be here. So that's at least one thing that keeps me grounded. I think so. I don't know if I've answered you.
Definitely have.
So
you have, because I can see Dan who is a non-medic nodding.
I know how to go to the doctor.
but given your industry that it's very sensitive,
very.
And this is more of like a hypothetical,
He's asking for a friend.
Wait, someone. So how do you deal with a situation where there is misinformation?
In terms of?
Like maybe I come to you
after Googling.
And because I'm sure because you reach a very wide audience, there is a lot of knowledge levels. Someone will be like, no, that's wrong. Another one is like, I didn't know. Then another is like, I read. So how do you deal with that? Because now for you, the way you service your audience is engaging in the comments and kind of clarifying. So how do you handle misinformation
on social media?
Yes.
One, so when it comes to people who first of all, the people who don't know, that's why I'm doing this. It's for them. So that one is teaching to them. Then there's some people who obviously come and be like, no, that's wrong information. Or some people come and tell you, no, have you read this? There's also this book by this scientist and whatnot. I feel like those ones, I teach medicine. I don't teach conspiracy theories.
I like that.
So another thing,
that should go to the teacher. I teach medicine.
Come on.
I'm speaking facts. I made it inside. Okay.
No, because like when someone comes, like for example, about like the HIV videos, like those was one of the biggest one, which had like millions of views. Like if for example come and tell you, medicine was invented by these people who wanted to kill us. You see, the thing is, one, that information I cannot agree with, and at the same time I cannot disagree with, because I don't have evidence for it. And for me, I'll teach you what I have evidence for. This is what it is that we need within our knowledges of our levels of understanding. At least let us prevent to this amount of level. If there is these options that are there's these things that are under study, there's these trials, there's these things like that. So for me to come and also add to your already confusion with more confusion, it doesn't make sense. And then so also when someone comes refuting, people will come like the Paul said, oh no, I have no problem with that. I actually like sitting in a conversation whereby we have
a dialogue.
Yeah, we have a dialogue. I don't mind that but also those things don't worry me, because one thing I've said, like before I go down to sit, one, I have been doing medicine for some time, like you're exposed to these things, but also number two, before I sit to do a video, like I've done exhaustive literature review, exhaustive. So it's difficult for you to actually come and be like, no, what you've said is actually wrong or whatever. I mean, I don't mind you having that conversation. Like, I don't mind it. But the thing is, I'm not guessing.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's
There's
like
proof.
Yeah, there's proof, because I said medicine is evidence-based. What I'm telling you is like factual information, which has evidence, which is there. At one point, I actually thought about attaching references of Paul want to read a bit more. But I noticed that one thing I actually noticed about social media recently is that if someone, I like learning. Like I like sitting around people who talk about things that I don't understand, because I feel like, okay, interesting, I've learned something new today. Most times people come with being like, no, what you're saying is not true. Most times they're not here to learn. They're just here to argue. And if you're here to argue, I'm not going to argue with you. Like, you can do your arguments and finish them. I don't mind that, because the thing is, the people who want to learn are the ones that I'm doing this for. So if you want to learn, someone can have a genuine concern, and you try to address those. I can't be able to address all because there'll be so many, but at least you'll be like, okay, this is where it is that you're going to go. The sample will come inserting, those were comments of like, I don't know, apparently about a herbalist who sent me a herb which healed me from HIV forever. I don't know, I think they've been doing advertising or something on your platform. Those ones, I try to delete them as much as possible. But one other thing that also social media does is that it hides them. So like TikTok hides them. So it helps a bit, because
quality
I don't want to also
mislead. Your platform is used to mislead.
There's also people who also use your platform to also mislead other people. But otherwise, if someone has because there's so many times that you find you sit with someone and someone is like, no, I saw this, I had this, I've seen this. Especially now, the one which I tend to do a bit more, whereby people tend to give also their own side of the story, which I'm like, what I also want to hear is when I do like my stories, which have like more family things,
or social
exactly, because those things cause a lot, and they're among us. Like, we can't say they're not there. They are among us.
It's life.
It's life. The effects of adultery, the effects of those things that end up causing people to get sick, to get infertile, get what you discuss them. And so some people come and be like, no, this is my opinion. I'm like, oh, interesting, I actually want to hear about this. And then we have a conversation, bring it to the stories, people discuss about them. So for me, I don't mind dialogue. I mean, I like dialogue. I like being challenged. I like discussion.
That's for us. We don't know what we like, but anyway, because we are open. You see, for us, I would say, like, from our marketing approach. No, I'm bringing. You have been quiet.
Okay, you
keep
bring your
slumbering.
Keep your voice.
So from my context, ours is more of an open book, because, as you've said, approach can differ. And for us, as much as there is evidence based. I can also tweak my approach, and that's my thing. If you don't like it,
it's not for you.
But as long as it gets results, now for us that's a different. Why for you it has to?
No, for many people, it's life or death. If you get it wrong, person's gone. If you get it right,
for us, okay, there are some millions, but people might commit suicide. But
millions can be recovered.
Anyway, but stepping into now your office, we've seen the social, we've never been your patients, but stepping into your office, it's a place where when I come, it's a place of being vulnerable. It's a place where I have to trust. It's a place where I'm suffering. There are scenarios when I want to tell you, but I don't feel. Maybe I came with my husband or wife or whatever situation.
When the helmet is in the private area, you're like, how do I bring it out?
How do I bring the thing to the thing? So how do you build that trust so that you best deliver the care? Because I feel like the online ningalingali is great, but for health it's that physical, and being a journalist, the things you see,
you talk to everyone. It's crazy.
So how do you, because sometimes it's the past experience. I have a friend who tells me, man, when you go to this hospital, when you find a guy, you just refuse, you just get out. So you so how do you build to get that
rapport?
Rapport. What are those things you do? Are they taught from class? Are they things you pick along the way? Are they also people who medicine is character wise? Anyway.
I think one, definitely rapport is something that is emphasized during medical school, medical training. It's something it's a skill you need to learn. but also some people are better at it than others because of different characters. Of course, there's some, because like I said,
True.
because like I said, like we have in the field, it's a very vast field. It has different types of people. There's some doctors who are really like any other profession.
Like any other profession.
There's some doctors who are really friendly. There's some who are like, I'm not going to waste my time with you. If you don't, what we are gonna get? Yeah. Then there are others who are more compassionate. There are some who are more like try to listen.
Yeah.
I think number one, like I said, I'll begin by saying this, and I'll keep saying this.
Yeah.
I am a Christian.
Yes.
For me, medicine is my service to God.
Yeah.
It's my service. I want to treat people the way I would want someone that I love to be treated, wherever it is that they go, to the best of my ability. I've been told several times that I look intimidating. So sometimes the patients can come and then at first, when the women they see, because they're like, oh, that's a doctor, what? There's a way they first be like, why? I don't know. There's sometimes the approach you can see it's a bit different, but eventually sometimes when you engage, try to have a conversation, whatnot, they begin to open up.
Yeah.
And also I think it's also, I find the profession very noble because like, again, I always say, people come to us when they're their most vulnerable. I find that very humbling because someone will be naked in front of you. Someone will tell you the things that hurt them. Sometimes you can be having a conversation with someone and you realize it's not just this.
Yeah.
There is
something else
more that's going on. Like there's a bit more that's going on. There are times I've had to like, you sit down with your patients, you pray with them, you discuss with them, you talk, you be like, you know what? Okay, right now my queue is a bit long, but let me first send you to the lab for this. And when you come back, let me say, I'm going to call you when everyone is out. Come back, and then we're going to have a conversation a bit more. Sometimes you find sometimes when you're not busy, you can sit down with the patient and you talk for like 2 hours. And then you find the issues come from behind. And for you to solve them, you can't just solve the surface. So I think that's one thing. But also, I think also the part of social media, one other thing it does. One, I sometimes when a patient comes into a consultation and then they find they're like, you're the doctor from social media. I've been watching your videos. So I think for me, that's it. And then the same thing with rapport. Me, I try to give people as much time as possible. Actually, instead you'll find it's like the other part of the hospital, like the other team that's knocking on your door, like, don't hurry up, don't hurry up. But sometimes you'd be like, okay, I think for this, but there's some patients who it's a simple thing. They come and it's like, okay, this is a small thing. You have any other issue, anything else you want to tell me? No, nothing. Okay, cool. If like a patient is like an inpatient, you can have time and you sit with them. If they're like admitted and you talk with them, you pray with them, you discuss with them, you discuss a bit more, things like that. Human to human. Because I don't know. I think sometimes people, I don't know, maybe sometimes I take the doctor thing a bit bigger than it is. I don't know. But for me, I just feel like we are all human beings and everyone has the role that they play in society. You like everyone, even if you find like a person who is a cleaner, if that cleaner was not there, like you guys would be in a mess. So I feel like it's just a human interaction. Of course, when someone sits at first, they'd be like, oh, madam, okay, what? It's a doctor. Eventually, when you sit there, like, oh, it's actually a normal human being as well. So, I don't know, you sit and talk about things. If it needs you to discuss a bit more, you discuss a bit more. Be like, you know what, okay, how about you first sit there, let me first finish with the queue. You come and we talk after. Then you talk. And then they get better.
Nice, Danny. Nice. And you know, this is even like, I would say this is a bonus to just slide it in there. How is the experience of you are there eating your meal at a restaurant and the interruptions, because that one has happened. How does it feel?
Like
you're
being
there
interrupted by someone who's like, oh, I know you.
So you know that invasion of space. Because as creators, it's one of those things that
because it also plays into your authenticity, where they're like, they are there on social media, being all giving us, but then in person, you can't.
I don't know. I've gotten some, but the one to come, most times I just see eyes. Even like today when that's coming, like you're in traffic and someone looking at the camera, like this, it's another person they tap that person. Like that.
what you for empty?
Like that. So it's just sometimes I feel like even when you're in the hospital itself, like sometimes you walk through the hall and it's starting people turning, looking at you like, wait, she's the one. If I hear someone whispering, wait, she's the one. But I feel like if you see me, and you recognize me, you just say hi. Then maybe there's one who actually came. I think I was at CJ's with my friend. Then she passed the first time, passed the second time,
Just
passed
to
the
make
third
sure.
time. That she came. She was like, "Oh, hi, dog." But I'm like, "Oh, hi. How are you doing?" But I don't know. For me, I feel like it's nice when someone comes and says that. I don't think I'm on like paparazzi level of like. No, but
I think it's because your field. We don't click it properly. Otherwise.
So, also, it's like very because you're out there as a professional.
Yes.
So I think people tend to be like, I don't know.
I think you live your profession as opposed to those of us where here we are marketers. Outside they're like, go ahead.
Look at this content. You know. That's interesting. And you know why I asked that is the way you've used the whole space, and both when you're at work and because you see the health sector doesn't market the usual way, billboards, whatever. It's more of advocacy, and you know, some people just say go looking for this doctor. Is how do you, because I feel like we are in an age where treatment goes beyond just treatment, like
Beyond the pills.
beyond the pills, beyond the whatever the prescription. It's how do we turn the community or society into advocates of health, because there's, as you say, there's some things that people are dying, you know, over, yet someone in the village knows it. As in, how best can we have a system where more information is relayed through the cycle of community? I don't. How do you guys? Is it something you intentionally do, or is it something that just happens as you serve, or is it something we can intentionally
do
work?
I think that's why I'm doing social media. I think that's just generally why I'm doing social media, because sometimes I can look at, like, you're talking about how knowledge is being dispensed or whatnot. Sometimes I look at some of my videos that have like 7,000 shares. That means plus 10,000 shares, 100,000 shares. That means it has been shared to different people. You find people in different WhatsApp groups. It enters households. Like, it now just gets off of the platform. And that's a good thing with TikTok, actually, because it enters like homes. Like, you find it is in this WhatsApp group. I think that's one thing. But also, for me, I like to teach a lot. Even my patients, when they come in, like, a patient can come and be like, I got this cough flu, and then I got this flu, I got some antibiotic from the hospital, from the pharmacy. I'm like, first of all, why did you get that antibiotic? Okay, let's first have the conversation. Let us start there. Why did you have this? Oh, me, they just told me. Oh, me, I self-medicated. All this. So you begin telling them this is not right. And you actually teach them why is it not right. If, for example, if I'm teaching you about, like, let me say you're going to the lab, and I'm like, when it comes to things like, let me say, blood samples, I'll pick them from you. But say like a urine sample, I make sure I teach you why you have to collect it a certain way. No, you have to collect it a certain way, and why you have to do it that way. So next time when you go to another facility,
you don't compromise.
You don't compromise the sample.
Immediately you're told, you know it in your mind, you're like, you know what, this is the why. Because I think sometimes we tend to think that people will not understand the terminology that we are saying. And so you need to, so what I try to do is to break it down into palatable ways. I used to, it's something I generally used to enjoy doing, even while in medical school, when you'd be like doing like in discussion groups, so you'd be told me to present something. I used to like using like a lot of graphical interpretation of things, illustrations, or even go to like YouTube. There's like really good medical teachers on YouTube. They teach you things from like, there's like channels like Osmosis, there's this guy called Armando Hasudagan, there's some guy called Dr. Najib. Like, there are so many like really good teachers, and they break down the concept. Because when you're looking at the book or your professor, they teach you like, this is this, the chemical, biochemical, what. You're like, guy, make these things make sense. Yeah, so I'd be like, okay, so if I can break these things down to make them a pattern in my head, I can definitely break them down for a person who doesn't know medicine. So I don't know. So when you do that and you make someone understand why it is you're doing this, or why shouldn't you be just self-medicating? Because some people think maybe you're just saying, I don't know if some people think that you are trying to not get yourself out of business.
You're looking for
you're trying to get yourself out of business by telling them not to self-medicate.
Yes.
And yet, like, when I said, and I'm telling you, do not self-medicate, because when you do that, you actually are feeding the organisms. So when you feed them, you are teaching them how to fight you. Next time, you cannot, or tell people this analogy of like, it's like if you fight, like people, I don't know if you guys have the same rats. Like there's rats that are in Kampala that aren't the same rats that are in the villages. Yeah. Those rats, like the city ones.
Yes.
Those ones, there's something about them.
They even know that women fear. You will come towards you, first check your fear. Like, I use.
But when you put a rat trap, it
will jump over the rat
when
trap.
you put like those wood nuts, whatever trap, it passes them like this. But that's what we try in the villages. If Bambi jumps in to eat, it eats them. Oh, they've given us food, So it's the same thing. If you begin self-medicating, you teach the organisms to be like, wanna see it out, let's do this. Or actually they feed on it and then it becomes like their protein supplement. So they'd be like, these ones here, they have their own level of energy. So you find someone comes and they die from like a UTI because no antibiotic can work on them. Also, the person does not know that me causing resistance in myself isn't just for me. You also make your whole family resistant because you're distributing a resistant bag. You get? So when you teach people to that level of like why, like the why, then I think it makes sense.
It comes down to family.
Yeah.
Well. I think we have. I don't know if to should I say it in what? I don't know. We are in hospital with Dr. Tumusiime Nyamurungi. Yeah, so for more, we shall drop the links in the bio to her channel. She's building a YouTube channel, that's what I know, mostly because the comments are better received. So if you have more questions, I would say go that side because the other channels are a bit overwhelming. Go to the YouTube, engage with the content, ask the questions. Either on this video, we shall make sure to pass them on as and when. If you don't, you can still share. For us, what we have learned and why we brought her is when building a personal brand, what we learned from Doctor, for us personally, is it doesn't matter the field. It is your why. For us, and we keep preaching.
If the why is clear, everything else will become clear.
So imagine you say, I have 0 views. We say, keep those views going. Because when you have 20 views, you're speaking to 20 people in a room. When you have 100, speaking to 100 in a room. But at the end of the day, it's the impact that counts. It's why you do what you do.
You never know what your message is being for those 20 people.
Yes. So that means also fact check. It is very, and that's why we bring people like this, because I don't know how to be a doctor who is trending. I don't know. I didn't do that stuff. Biology was Chibox. But until the next one, be good.